¿Y si recreamos la foto vieja que publicó mamá?
Me encanta. Pero ¿dónde conseguimos el mismo vestido con hombreras?
Déjame buscarlo con mi nuevo Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. Solo tengo que circular el vestido y listo. ¿Lo podemos comprar en estas páginas?
No, ¿cómo le...?
Shh, ya viene mamá.
¡Ay, qué lindo vestido! ¡Cómprame uno!
Circúlalo, encuéntralo con el nuevo Galaxy S24 Ultra y Circle to Search with Google. Compra el tuyo en Samsung.com. Requiere conexión a Internet. Los resultados pueden variar dependiendo de las imágenes.
How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 3.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be delighted to have you. And friends, boy, Chuck Schumer has caused an international incident. This is absurd. The Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, went to the floor of the Senate and called for the removal of Benjamin Netanyahu in new elections to throw him out of office. Again, here's the video. This is you gotta hear this.
The fourth major obstacle to peace is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. As a lifelong supporter of Israel, it has become clear to me the Netanyahu coalition no longer fits the needs of Israel after October 7th. The world has changed radically since then, and the Israeli people are being stifled right now by a governing vision that is stuck in the past. 5 months into this conflict, it is clear that Israelis need to take stock of the situation and ask, must we change course? At this critical juncture, I believe a new election is the only way to allow for a healthy and open decision-making process about the future of Israel.
Can you imagine if someone from another country did that about us? We would all be up in arms saying it's election interference. I mean, look at what the Democrats continued to say about Russia in 2016 instead of criticizing Hillary Clinton's poorly run campaign. They say it's all about Russia, and we shouldn't have foreign interference. Here comes the Senate Majority Leader of the United States saying that you have to get Benjamin Netanyahu out of the way, and it ignores the reality on the ground in Israel. That there's actually a coalition government right now, a wartime government of all the parties put together to wage war against Hamas. Even the left-wing parties in Israel are aligned behind Netanyahu, not on domestic policy, but on fighting Hamas. And, well, you want to see what's happened here and how Chuck Schumer has caused an international incident? Let's begin with the ambassador from Israel to the United States, Michael Herzog, who has tweeted, Israel is a sovereign democracy. It is unhelpful, all the more so as Israel is at war against the genocidal terror organization Hamas, to comment on the domestic political scene of a democratic ally. It is counterproductive to our common goals. Now, lest you think that, well, this is Benjamin Netanyahu's ambassador to the United States, of course he will have his back. What you probably do not know is that Michael Herzog's brother ran against Bibi Netanyahu from the left. He represented the Labor Party. He lost to Netanyahu. Yes, that's right. Bibi Netanyahu built a multi-party coalition in this war, and the ambassador to the United States is kin to Bibi's last opponent. But it's not only him. Naftali Bennett was the first prime minister of Israel in a decade that was not named Bibi Netanyahu, ran against him. In 2021, Naftali Bennett got elected, and he too has come out and said, former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, regardless of our political opinion, we strongly oppose external political intervention in Israel's internal affairs. We are an independent nation, not a banana republic. With the threat of terrorism on its way to the West, it would be best if the international community would assist Israel in its just war, thereby also protecting their countries. It was idiotic of Chuck Schumer to do that. Now, just think. Chuck Schumer says he and Joe Biden hate Benjamin Netanyahu. We need to take out Benjamin Netanyahu. I got a bold idea. I'm going to go to the floor of the Senate and call for his removal. I'll use my clout as a Jewish American from New York to say he needs to go. And what happens? The Israeli opposition comes out and says, you leave our guy Bibi alone. We'll take care of him. We're at war. You shut up. Well done, Chuck Schumer. Well done. You just rallied Benjamin Netanyahu's Israeli domestic political opponents into his corner. What a moronic thing to do. But of course, this is Schumer, and he's not thinking here. Well, you know what I'm finding more and more is that so many people are living their life emotionally and doing things emotionally that they really have just given up on thinking in depth about how these things could play. Now, look, I confess to you, I'm not an expert on Israeli politics. And you know, one of the funny things that happens online is that people become experts particularly on social media. Suddenly, everybody's an expert. It's kind of dumb. Everybody becomes this expert on Israeli politics. You know, Israel's been having election after election after election after election after election. Had Hamas not invaded on October 7th, I guarantee you there would have been another election. And everybody's an expert. I'm not an expert, but I do read the papers. I do talk to people. I do talk to the actual experts to relay their information to you. And the thing that the experts have consistently come back to me about is that the war in Israel has overwhelmingly united Israelis who do not agree on politics a lot these days. And yet they have overwhelmingly agreed on this situation, and they've overwhelmingly agreed on just leaving the political status quo in place, and they'll settle their grievances politically against each other once they've eradicated Hamas. They've been deeply unified in getting rid of Hamas. The fact that Chuck Schumer would do this and cause yet again this unity to happen, I realize there will be the fifth dimension chess theorists out there saying, well, maybe he actually did this to bring some unity. No, they didn't need unity. They had the unity. This is idiotic from Chuck Schumer, but this is what they've done. Good grief. All right, before I pivot to anything else, I'm going to go on and take some phone calls here because I've got a topic I wanted to talk about yesterday and I didn't get to it, and I want to get to it. Now I don't have enough time because I wanted to talk about what just happened with the Israeli leaders coming out. So let me get to Andy right now. Andy, welcome to the show.
Hey, Eric, big news day. Appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
I have a couple questions. One that's of today's news, but another related to something from a couple days ago. So the first thing is on the Haiti issue. Can you confirm or deny? My recollection of Bill Clinton's involvement with Haiti mostly had to do with sort of like the tawdry aftermath of that, with the Clinton Foundation allegedly sort of stealing aid money or a very corrupt situation there, and the Clinton Foundation seemed to benefit from it. The other thing I had from a couple days ago was I was also outraged by the Nancy Mace interview with George Snuffleupagus.
Yeah.
And but actually I was, and certainly I was outraged by him, but I felt like she left something on the table there. Why doesn't somebody in that situation say with all clarity, look, George, how in the world can you make a statement like that, given that you were the reason behind the most dangerous sexual predator that ever came into the White House getting to power?
Yeah,
that just
look,
seems like hypocrisy on steroids.
100% issue right there, because I really think she should have gone after him. You enabled a sexual predator, and you've never apologized for that, George, and now you're going to come after me for supporting Donald Trump. Bill Clinton was credibly accused of rape, sexual assault, and all sorts of other things, and you enabled him. You've never been held accountable. How dare you politicize my rape? Yeah, I really do think she should have. Now, Andy, let me go back to the Clinton Foundation thing. So your timeline is off on this one. So, I didn't actually realize this until the other day because this issue came up again, and I didn't realize that the Clintons went to Haiti for their honeymoon. They've had a long time relationship there, but the Clinton Foundation didn't start until after he left the White House. He engaged in Haiti. If you recall, Jimmy Carter had gone down there to try to bring peace. And we actually had to send the Green Berets in essentially and kidnap Carter and get him out for his own safety. He didn't realize he was essentially being held hostage. But you're right. There was political collapse in Haiti. We could have gone in and stopped it. He waited for the collapse to happen and then sent the Green Berets in and the like to resolve the situation. But the Clinton Foundation issues came later. But you raise a big issue here of, has there ever been an accounting for all the money the Clinton Foundation has poured into Haiti and clearly hasn't gotten any results?
Sure. Yeah. And Eric, one last thing about the Nancy Mace interview, because I've been interested in the process of these things. Does that interview get taped beforehand, or is that a live interview? Because live, that would have been a great line to have delivered.
Yeah, and so that's the issue, too, is that they tend to be live, and I've been in these situations where you leave the studio and you're like, dadgummit, I should have said this instead, but it's live and you're under pressure. The pre-recorded ones tend to go at a little bit of a slower pace. That being live also, I'm somewhat defensive of people on the left and the right who are on live TV and you get mad at them. Why didn't you say this? If only, well, you're essentially armchair quarterbacking a live interview, and live interviews are different from a lot of pre-recorded interviews. For example, there are very often times I've done live TV interviews where they don't tell you you're going live until like you get a 5-second countdown. We're live in 5. When they say we're live in 5, that doesn't mean we're live in 5 minutes. It means we're live in 5 seconds. And you're like, oh, here we go. And oftentimes you're not hearing commercial breaks and stuff. And so all of a sudden you hear live in 5 and you got to fire up in 5 seconds. With pre-recorded interview, you tend to know you can stop, revise. There are other things happening. It's just a completely different dynamic between a live one and a pre-tape one. Tom, you're going to be the next caller. Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. Tom, how are you?
I'm doing good. 2 quick things. First, one, thank God for school choice in the state of Georgia. That's where I live. Secondly, what do you expect from Chuck Schumer? The man's an idiot. My main point is, what is your opinion of Donald Trump coming into office and taking because of the unelected bureaucrat nonsense we deal with here, and just taking the top 20 people in the FBI, the CIA, and every cabinet position and firing them and just starting from over? They keep saying that all the underlings are great people. It's a few bad apples at the top. Well, let's take all the bad apples at the top right out of the dang equation and start fresh.
I don't think I'm not opposed to doing that. I'm not opposed to cleaning house. Institutionally, you'll have people who say, well, we're going to lose institutional knowledge. Well, you might. But oftentimes the people with the institutional knowledge are lower than the tops. It's the people who've been there for 20, 30, 40 years working in the bureaucracy who are at the point of retirement, and they're not at the upper echelons. At the upper echelons, many of those people happen to be political appointees who, when their president left power, Obama, they were able to roll into the civil service at the same level. And so you've got this class of civil servant who really does believe that they should be there to stop any Republican president, not just Donald Trump. They did it to George W. Bush as well. I don't have any problem with mass firings in the federal bureaucracy. The federal bureaucracy actually needs to be cleaned up. I actually hate the Civil Service Act. I think the president should be able to come into office and make every single person reapply for their job or fire them outright. I'm not opposed to that at all. It's the way it worked until one crazy civil servant assassinated a president back in the day, and we decided we needed to do the Civil Service Act to stop the president from appointing everybody. No, I kind of think we kind of established this bureaucracy that at this point in American history believes that it's actually in charge, not the President of the United States. The executive branch needs an enema.
At Enterprise, we know you're constantly on the move. Getting this?
Thanks, Mom.
Fixing that. You reach a destination, and then it's on to the next. And when life is moving at the speed of, well, life, Enterprise is right there with you, around the corner and around the globe. We'll keep you moving forward. Enterprise, for lives in drive.
Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. The Laken-Riley Act has been blocked by Senate Democrats, despite an effort by Republicans to get it over. There's also some breaking news. You know, Riley Gaines, the female athlete turned activist over men and women's sports. She says she's suing the NCAA and 15 other collegiate athletes who have lost titles, records, and roster spots to men posing as women. Yesterday I said NCAA instead of NAACP, and now I almost said NAACP instead of NCAA. The NCAA continues to explicitly violate the federal civil rights law of Title IX. It's about time somebody did something about it. So they are 16, led by Riley Gaines, suing the NCAA over continuing to allow women or men into women's sports. You notice you never really hear about women in men's sports. Fascinating how that works. Just fascinating. All right. I want to take your phone calls when we come back. 877-973-7425. But I also want to talk to you about the spring of doom. A buddy of mine, who's a meteorologist, sent me video last night of these severe, just massively severe thunderstorms that blew through Kansas City that I was telling you guys about yesterday. Massive storms spread out over that area. There's still, today, like I'm looking right now, there's a special weather statement in Tulsa, Oklahoma right now. There is just massive, massive storms going through in that area, blowing through into, headed into near Springfield, Missouri, and into Kansas. There's a tornado warning south of Tulsa, several tornado warnings. There's severe thunderstorm warnings, just massive, awful storms running from Oklahoma City all the way up through Tulsa, headed into Missouri and northern Arkansas. Just serious stuff. I can see hail my gosh, around Salina. Y'all should see the amount of hail I'm seeing that's just basically everything running parallel I-44. Massive storms. I got to mention to you Vision Computer right now. I'm distracted by the radar here on my computer, but I got to tell you about Vision Computers. Vision Computers can build you computers. Laptops, desktops, servers, workstations, gaming PCs, whatever you need. But then they can also be your service department. Now, if you are a small business and you've got PCs and you did not use Vision Computer, and I don't care if you're in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Jacksonville, Florida, or Atlanta, Georgia, Vision Computers can become your service department anywhere in the nation. So you've got an IT guy. You don't want to get rid of the IT guy, but his time is so busy fixing people's email and printer issues and stuff that he can't handle the big stuff he needs to do. For $179 a year, even if you didn't buy your computers from Vision, they can become your service department. They've got thousands of 5-star reviews on Google for their services. They really are great. All you have to do is call them at 404-COMPUTER. Go to visioncomputers.com. So then your employees can call Vision Computers and let them sort out their email and other issues. Visioncomputers.com or 404-COMPUTE.
This episode is brought to you by Crown Royal. This NBA season, Crown Royal is celebrating the loyal fans that show up for every tip-off. Whether they're serving up loaded nachos or shaking up Crown and Gingers, Crown Royal believes if you live generously, life will treat you royally. Visit crownroyal.com to get ready for tip-off. Please drink responsibly.
Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number 877-973-7425. Y'all, let me just play you the audio if I can. Where is this? Yes. I got it right here. So this is from yesterday. This is CBS News this morning.
Central U.S. this morning and how these storms could affect millions of people before the day is out. So let's get straight to meteorologist Stephanie Abrams with our partners at the Weather Channel. Steph, good morning to you.
Tony, good morning. Not only will we have the threat of severe weather the next couple of days, but dry and windy conditions could cause fires to spread rapidly, and we'll have a snowstorm in the Rocky. Let's start in the Four Corners. Flakes will start flying today and not only last into tomorrow, but the system cuts off from the main flow and lingers into the weekend. This could be Denver's biggest storm of the season, with potentially over a foot. East of here, large hail in the Central Plains, greater than 2 inches. That's the size of a lime. It all kicks off tonight, continues into Thursday when the severe weather threat expands, and there's also the risk of damaging winds, tornadoes, and even flooding into our Friday. For more in-depth coverage, you can watch your Weather Channel on cable or
brewing in the Central U.S.
Stop. Twitter's glitching on me today. So the reason I play that is because I don't know if you know this or not, but we are in this period of time. It's called spring. When I was a kid, we learned that March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. Now, I'm looking at the radar right now in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Those of you on KRMG listening to me live right now, a strong thunderstorm is impacting southwestern Rogers, east Central Creek, northwestern Wagner, and Tulsa counties through 2 o'clock Central Time, 3 o'clock my time. Doppler radar indicates strong thunderstorm over Glenpool moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. Now, that's in the Tulsa Broken Arrow area. South of there, Redbird, Porter, there is a severe thunderstorm warning. It expires in 7 minutes. To the east of Tulsa, there are multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. The worst of it is happening right now. I love this. They're Hoot Owl, Oklahoma. Man, I love these names. Bull Hollow, Langley, Strang. There's a mass. Y'all should see the amount of hail I can see. I've got a special radar app. Long story short, back in the day, had to learn to read the radar, and there's a massive pile of hail and lightning. This is a very severe thunderstorm. And south, right over I-40, south of Tulsa, there is a tornado warning happening right now. Henrietta, Hoffman, that area. Now, the reason I'm telling you all this and reading the radar, one, I don't get to read the radar a lot anymore, and I kind of like to read the radar. And by the way, it is spilling over now into southern Missouri. Anderson, Pineville, Jane, Knoll, southern Missouri. There's severe thunderstorm warning right now. Y'all, it's springtime. And this is when it happens. To this day, one of my most aggravating moments on radio. It's just so you understand, I kind of have a goldfish mentality on a lot of stuff. I'm always fascinated by the people who can remember things someone said like 15 years ago that still make them mad. Like online, people will come up with something I said like a decade ago. They're like, "You're the guy who said this. How dare you be preaching now?" Like, I don't even remember I said that. And these other people, it's like they have a database of grievances that they want to pull out. I tend to not hold on to this stuff. There is one moment in radio that I will hang on to for the rest of my life that still makes me mad. I was doing evenings on WSB Radio in Atlanta, my flagship station. I did drive time 4 to 7 and then 4 to 6. And no, I was doing 5 to 7 and then 4 to 6. So I was on, and I had to be in Washington, D.C. I was on CNN at the time. It was the election, and I had to be on air at CNN, And I still had to do my radio show that evening. And of all things, there were tornadoes in Oklahoma. Now, I'm on radio just in Atlanta, Georgia at the time. I'm not nationwide. My radio station doesn't reach Oklahoma. And yet they made the decision to go wall-to-wall news coverage about tornadoes in Oklahoma. I have no idea to this day why we would do that. Fascinating coverage? No. Nobody in Atlanta cared. And yet we did. But it was March. It was Super Tuesday week. That's why I was in D.C. for CNN. And you know what? It happens like this every March. In like a lion, out like a lamb. April showers bring May flowers, all the things you learned. Why? Because it's springtime. It's warming up, and the cold air out of the mountains clashes with the warm air coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, and it causes storms. Except now, in the year of our Lord 2024, everything must be tied to climate change. The doomers have decided we all must be scared. Greta Thunberg has just been dragged out of the parliament in Sweden. She was blocking the entrance to the parliament, and the police dragged her out of parliament. She was obstructing the entryway of the parliamentarians in Sweden, and she's there protesting climate change. And now we got guerrilla hail. Have you ever heard the phrase guerrilla hail? This is, I have been in this business for a long time, and until this year, I've never heard about guerrilla hail. Guerrilla hail is large hail, and they've got pictures of it, and a listener just sent me this AP story about guerrilla hail. Alex Sosnowski, senior meteorologist at AccuWeather, previously said the predicted hail was deemed guerrilla hail because it was the potential to fall. Guerrilla hail is a term coined by Reed Timmer, who I mentioned yesterday, who is in Kansas City, a storm chaser, who calls himself an extreme meteorologist. Guerrilla hail. All of a sudden, everybody is latching on to these clickbait-friendly terms that get you traffic, and it's designed to scare the snot out of you. It's designed to advance a climate change agenda. It is designed to convince you that, you know what, the spring was never such a big deal, and suddenly the spring is a big deal. No. Spring has always been a big deal for storms. Even here in Georgia, spring is a big deal for storms. But the media has got to get you coming back constantly. The media has got you to keep clicking. The media has got to keep you scared and fearful and tell you a story that gets you coming back for more information on how am I going to save my life. And so now we got guerrilla hail, and we got climate change related storms as opposed to it's spring. And it comes in like a lion and out like a lamb, and April showers bring May flowers. God forbid we should dwell on any of that stuff. And what's happening in progressive communities and progressive families, the kids are now all suicidal because the kids are scared to death they're all going to die and the world's going to burn. Well, you know what? The world is going to burn. I've read to the end of the Bible. The world's going to burn, but a lot of us are going to be fine. There's no reason to worry. We got the sovereignty of God unless you're a progressive atheist. Now, I got to move on to something else because it turns out the case down in Florida, it is not going well at this moment. In the situation with Donald Trump, Judge Cannon has taken a wrecking ball to the classified documents case. This is breaking news happening right now. Judge Cannon down in Florida is pressing the defense and the special counsel to answer regarding classified documents and, frankly, situations tied to the Espionage Act and the double standard of special prosecutors handling the situation. That's kind of fascinating. Donald Trump is in the court as his lawyers have urged the federal judge down there, Judge Cannon, to dismiss the case against him. Cannon is a Trump-appointed judge. Now, this is the latest. This has hit the wires here just a few minutes ago from CBS News. Judge Eileen Cannon is hearing arguments on two motions filed by Trump. One that says the former president is shielded from prosecution by federal record-keeping law. Another that claims one of the charges presents numerous open legal questions. It's the second hearing between Trump's team and prosecutors in this courtroom. The first half of the hearing addressed the Trump motion that argued the statute under which he's being charged is unconstitutionally vague. One of Judge Cannon's concerns seemed to be whether the motion is premature, and she pointed out that declaring a statute unconstitutionally vague is an extraordinary step. Why are we having this as applied discussion now, given the chance of disputed facts, she asked. She pointed out that the superseding indictment does not take the position that Trump's documents were personal, and Trump's now claiming he deemed them personal before office. She was also fixated on the timeline of when Trump's alleged lawful retention of the documents was complete, asking whether that was on January 20th, 2021. She explained that a theory in the indictment is that Trump's possession of the documents was authorized while he was president, but his possession became unauthorized the moment his possession ended. She asked Trump's attorney, when does it become unauthorized? Trump's lawyer, Emil Bove, replied that charges under the statute of the Espionage Act should be dismissed because the government cannot establish his lack of authorization. Trump's removal of the records constituted an act of designating them to be personal records. Now, here's the thing. If you recall the Robert Hur testimony, Robert Hur actually thought that Biden could be prosecuted for the exact same thing, except that Biden would come across as too old and enfeebled to a jury to prosecute. Things actually don't seem to be going well for Donald Trump in Eileen Cannon's court, and that's the case that everybody was like, oh, well, she's in the tank for him. It is funny, though, how the Georgia case is collapsing. Even on MSNBC, and it's notable because it's MSNBC. On MSNBC, the legal analysts, the progressive legal analysts on MSNBC are pointing out that the Georgia case is collapsing, that it turned out that Fani Willis pushed it too far too fast and was too vague and nebulous in her charges, and that's giving Donald Trump a way out of the case. That matters that it's on MSNBC because MSNBC is beginning to rein in expectations on the Georgia case. They've already reined in expectations on the Alvin Bragg case. It's no wonder progressives are just so despondent. It is no wonder that progressives in this country are out of silver bullets to fire at Donald Trump. None of these cases are going to go to trial now. Before the election, none of these cases are going to go to trial, except for Alvin Bragg's. And that's the weakest of the cases. And, you know, Trump will very likely be found guilty by a jury of New Yorkers, and then it'll be thrown out by a court of appeals because it's an unheard of type of prosecution, trying to use federal law to tie it to state law when Trump hasn't been convicted in a federal law where that federal law also says states can't prosecute under that federal law. It's a wild case. It's one that no prosecutor advised Bragg to take. In fact, multiple prosecutors told him not to take. They're going to have to take Donald Trump on at the ballot box. And that's the problem for the Democrats. They do not believe philosophically at this point that they can actually beat Donald Trump at the ballot box. The polls suggest they can't. And that's causing all sorts of turmoil. There's actually a story today about the coming commercial real estate collapse. Wall Street is bracing for commercial real estate time bomb, according to The Hill. That's probably why you should be talking to Swiss America, so they can help you protect your hard-earned assets. They're experts at this. If you call Swiss America, let them help you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 800-289-2646 or go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric today. Swiss America can teach you what you need to know to protect yourself from economic turmoil and protect your hard-earned assets right now. 800-289-2646 or go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric today. Mention my name, Eric Erickson, when you call or text 800-289-2646. Let them know I'm sending you. Talk to them about what they can do for you to teach you how to protect your hard-earned assets right now. You can also go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric. You can get their report this year or on cash as well. It's an important report on how the nation's corporations and government are trying to steer you towards not using your assets, but rather using plastic so they can develop their social credit scores against you. Swiss America, they've been a trusted leader for 40 years in precious metals and want to help you protect your assets. 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646, or SwissAmerica.com/Eric. Message and data rates may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Seed. Seed's DS-01 Daily Symbiotic is a broad-spectrum probiotic and prebiotic formulated with 24 scientifically validated strains for whole-body benefits, engineered for maximum delivery to your colon, helping to support a healthy heart, maintain optimum cholesterol balance and lipid metabolism, as well as reinforce an optimal gut-skin axis to promote clear skin. Visit seed.com/Spotify and use code Spotify25 to get 25% off your first month.
Hello, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? I want to go to Bill here. Bill, you've been waiting patiently. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good, Eric. How are you?
Great.
So I have two comments and a quick question.
All right.
My first comment, and you might not have time for this, and I understand. My first comment is on Haitians. I hired a couple of Haitians back in the 90s that were legal immigrants, and they were wonderful people, just incredible people. Great sense of humor, Christians, and their accent was just so beautiful.
Yes.
They're just beautiful people. Second comment, I'm an employee benefit consultant, and one of the misnomers of all this part-time job mess that we're in right now is, and I know you've mentioned it before, the lack of benefits that are available to these part-time jobbers, and what that value is. The value of a full-time job is about $7 an hour in benefits, vacations, sick leave, health insurance, life insurance, disability insurance, all which taxpayers have to fund because of subsidies in the health care and all these stupid mandates for all these stupid disability mandates that we all have to pay for because of these idiot policies in blue states. My question is in regards to Trump. A warning sign for Trump is, one of my big concerns is Nikki Haley polled 15% when she wasn't even running anymore in Georgia. Mm-hmm. And that should be a warning sign to Trump. He's got to embrace a little bit of different direction here.
Well, and, I got to say, it's very odd that his team turned their guns on Ron DeSantis again yesterday as DeSantis was making headlines for sending Florida reserves down to stop the Haitian immigrants from sailing ashore in Florida. The Trump team started attacking him again. They seem intent on attacking the candidates still on the Republican side who ran against him, like Haley and DeSantis, instead of trying to unify. And that actually it's a warning sign to me. But the biggest warning sign of all is this: the number of Trump supporters who voted same day. And this is becoming a recurring pattern. You saw it in South Carolina. We've seen it in Georgia now. We've seen it in the Super Tuesday states. They're still not voting absentee or early. They've still got unbridled skepticism towards it. The Democrats, meanwhile, are hiring activists to go out and collect ballots. They're going to engage in ballot harvesting, people. And the Republicans aren't. Republican voters are still committed to voting same day. And we saw them lose a special election in New York because a blizzard rolled through on a special election day in New York. And Republicans decided, I guess I can't go vote. There's a blizzard outside. I can't drive. They could have voted early, and they didn't. There's that much skepticism. That's going to be what costs Republicans the election in November. That's going to be what costs us. And that's terrible. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Now, got to tell you, again, breaking news here in Georgia where I am. Senate Bill 233 has passed. That's the school choice legislation. The House of Representatives in Georgia has advanced the school choice legislation. It's got to go back to the Senate where the votes exist to pass it. Brian Kemp's going to sign it into law, and Georgia will get school choice.
The regular season is heating up. New stars are emerging, and that means more opportunities to win up to 25 times your cash on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection on a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's that easy. Let it fly to turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Watch your favorite players and get paid doing it this basketball season. See your entries make progress during the game or make new entries for the second half and the fourth quarter. 3-pointers, assists, rebounds, and everything in between are yours for the taking. Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.